Hi guys, welcome to today's video. So today we are talking about my favorite sketching pencils or utensils. Sometimes it's not necessarily a pencil, and some of these you will have seen on the show, on the videos, and some of them I really don't show them that often, so they might be new to you. So here you can see that I'm always kind of ending up with a pile of pencils, pens, paintbrushes on the side of my desk. So what we'll do is I'll go through all of them. I'll just do a quick run through and then I will tell you my top 5 and a couple of runner-ups, and then we will go through and kind of swatch them all and try them out. Okay, so first of all, like I said, not everything is just a lead pencil, so I will go through and show you some of the things, and I guess that I don't even show everything here, but I will show you examples of kind of what I use and how I use them at the end. So the first thing are paintbrushes. So these are the Escoda Reserva, and quite often I will just sketch out what I'm painting, like especially if it's an art journal page or just a colour study, I'll just sketch it out with the paintbrush. The second thing I like to use are coloured pencils. So quite often it's really nice to kind of do a messy coloured pencil sketch just to get the feel of shapes and things. And then that was the General's sketching pencil. So it's kind of a really nice, different, unusual shape. And I really like using it so it's not water soluble, it's just a lead pencil. But you can use kind of the flat side of the lead, you can use the corner of the lead, and then it smudges really nicely as well. So I really enjoy it for sketching. It's just pretty new, so I need to try it out a little bit more, but I'm really enjoying it. Okay, so the next thing, I think I'm just going to show you a couple of things in here, and I do use pretty much everything in here for sketching. This is a little tiny pocket mechanical pencil. It's a Pentel Sharp. So I got this one off Amazon. It was around $8, I think. But this is a really nice one to just like tuck into a traveler's notebook or something. I think it's a 0.5. So I think these are hard to come by sometimes. So I'll try and find the link and pop that below. And I should have probably been saying where I'm getting things from. So the General sketching pencil, I got it from Jerry's Artarama. So this is the Caran Dache Swiss Wood, and it's a HB. I got it from Jet Pens. This one is a Caran Dache Grafwood, also in the 4H, so it's the lightest one. I got this one from Jackson's. And then I am pulling out a couple. So this is, you can see a brand new, my number one, my Faber Castell Graphite Aquarelle, which we'll look at in a minute. And I'm also just pulling out this Steadtler. This one you have never seen anywhere. This is a 2.0 lead holder that I got from Jet Pens. Okay, so we'll go through the top 5, and starting from my number 1 pencil, which is the Faber Castell Graphite Aquarelle. It's a watercolor lead pencil and I love it. I've used it for years and years. So this next one is my number 2, and this is the Technalo Caran Dache in the Carmine Lake. And then number 3 is this Uni Kuru Toga. I don't show this very often on the channel, but this one I really love and I use it all the time. It's got a really nice it's not too weighty, and it just feels really nice. Like the finger grip is quite nice. It's a 0.5. And then this one here is a lead holder. So this is the Steadtler lead holder from Jet Pens. It's a 2.0, and you can see the difference in the point size there. So I got this sometime in the middle of last year, but I haven't shown it because I wasn't sure how to go about using the lead and sharpening the lead. So I think I have found a solution, so it will be sort of featured more often on the channel. So I got it from Jet Pens, and you can also get a silver version which is still gorgeous. I think it's a little bit cheaper, so I'll again try and link these below. You can see that you can change the middle part to tell you what kind of lead you have in it. And then this one here is the Kaweco SketchUp in the Satin. I think I'm just showing you here the weight. So this one has it doesn't have an overly weight. This one is weighted quite well, but you get a little bit more feedback on the grip section, which, you know, you may or may not like. I really like the Kuru Toga, the silver one. And then this one here has a really nice, it's very heavy to use, but it's quite a nice weight. So this is a 5.6 millimeter lead. I really enjoy holding it, but I'm not really sure about the lead, so I got a different box of lead to try. Again, I don't feature a lot because I'm not exactly sure how to use it, but I do really love it. But okay, so we're moving on to the first runner-up, which is the dip pen, and I really love these. You can see there that they come separately with the lead holder, and then you've got to buy the nibs, and you have to prepare the nibs properly or it won't work. So I've had quite a few questions on this, so we will go through in a minute and I will kind of show you a bit more about that. And then the last runner-up are these Blackwing pencils. So every few years we get a box of these and we just kind of share them around the family until they're used up, and then we get another box. And you can see that I have it in the compass there too, but like the sketch pencil, they're really good to use for sketching and they smudge really well. So in the beginning I used that all the time to sketch, but then I switched to the Graphite Aquarelle. Okay, so let's show some examples and kind of talk about how to use them, and I will give a little swatch of them and things. So first of all, in this sketch here, you can see I started with the Graphite Aquarelle, and then I went back in with the Technalo, but I also used I think I'll show it here. So it's the Graphite XL, the Derwent Graphite XL, and it's in the number 4, which is the burnt umber. So and you can see here, I have done this one on the budget-friendly art supplies, but I used the burnt, so I started with the Graphite Aquarelle, the watercolored pencil. I used the burnt umber to paint, and then I went over the top of that as well with the Technalo, so the Carmine Lake Technalo. I'm not sure if that's a bit confusing, but I will show you a kind of quick demo here. So one of the things I realized sketching and watercoloring with the watercolor lead pencils on this paper. So this is the Apica notebook from Jet Pens in the Chic Sparrow, and I have a video about this setup, but I do really love this notebook for watercolors and for quick watercolor sketches. We've been doing a lot of them on the channel, but I just realized that it's not that great for watercolor lead pencils, so they don't activate very well. But anyway, I think you'll be able to get an idea of how I use them through all these different techniques. So the first thing that I'm doing is just taking my watercolor graphite, which is the Faber Castell Graphite Aquarelle, and I'm sketching out my subject, which is a rose. So that is pretty much how a lot of my artworks start. And depending on the subject, I can also use more of that and use it as kind of an underpainting for shadows and things. So the next thing I'm doing here is taking the Technalo in Carmine Lake, and I am going over the shadow areas. And then I am taking my Kuru Toga, the Uni Kuru Toga, and I am just writing the names, and that is what I use this for all the time. Because it never needs to be sharpened, so I just really enjoy it for that. So this one here, I took a long time to decide on a 2.0 lead holder, and this is the one that I came to. So like I said, you can get it in the silver or you can get it in this black, which was out of stock for a long time on Jet Pens, and I really enjoyed it. It's really, really lovely to sketch with, and yeah, you'll be seeing more of it. So then this is the Kaweco SketchUp in the 5.6 millimeter. This is the Satin, and they do have these on Jet Pens, but not the Satin one. I think I got this off Amazon. This one, I love the aesthetic. I love the feel of it. It's just a beautiful little piece of art in itself, but I don't really love the lead in it, so I'm going to try out some different leads so I can let you know about that. But again, you can see I'm just using it as a regular sketching pencil, and this is a really quick, messy sketch, by the way. I am sorry about that. I've just had barely any time lately. And I don't know, but does anyone else feel like it's, even if it's like 24, 48 or 72 hours between a video, it feels like it's been several weeks. It just feels like, I'm not sure, but anyway. So I sort of can't keep up with the videos, but you can see here that I'm activating the pigment here, and it's not activating that well on this paper, so I do apologize for that. But I will show you close-ups and you'll be able to see the difference in the cool tone of the Graphite Aquarelle and the warmer tone of the Carmine Lake Technalo. Okay, so you can see here one of my favorite techniques, which is putting the water down and then using the Carmine Lake Technalo over the top of it, and then sort of softening that out. So in here, this is the stone emblem here. So I used the this burnt umber, the Graphite XL, to paint it in, and then I used the Technalo on top of that. Sometimes I would wet the area first and draw in the Technalo and then paint it out, and sometimes I would just softly pencil that in and then come in with the water. So the next thing I really like to do is use the dip pen. So we're going to use the Sennelier Silver Ink, which I think is linked below already, and this is one of my favourite inks as well lately, next to the Winsor Newton Gold ink. But so I get the dip pen and then I come in with the ink and I sketch over the top of either watercolour, usually it's watercolour. In this case, it's just the graphite, but yeah. So I will show you some shots here of how the silver ink looks when it hits the light, which is super pretty. And you can see how just going over it with the dip pen really adds that extra dimension. I mean, this was only a super quick sketch, but you can see that even just with the addition of the ink, it like takes it to the next level. So I really love ink for that reason. So I will do a better video about the ink and the dip pen for you, but in the meantime, let's just do a quick kind of review on how to prep the nib. So you can see here when it's prepped, the ink should stay on the nib, like it shouldn't be all splotchy. If you are having problems and you've got the nib and you've got that already and you think you've prepared it but it's not writing properly, like you can see here, we'll use the ink. So you want to make sure the ink is shook up enough. That's the first thing. Shake your ink, properly. You'll often see there's still some settled at the bottom. Now, if it's too thick, just don't shake it as much, and then it should be okay. Sometimes, I think once I have put about 20 drops of water in, and that just made it fine and perfect. I would prefer it too thick because then you can always water it down. It's a little bit tricky if it's thinner. You've got to add gum arabic and things. So But you can see in the bottom example it wasn't prepped properly, and I'm not getting those hairline strokes up, so it's not performing well, and it really frustrates you when you get a nib pen that's not performing well. So one of the ways, the quickest and easiest and way and prepare yourself is to spit on some paper towel and wipe the nib in that, and then you just wash it with like dish liquid, the same as you would like a knife and fork, and you're good to go. And that is, the saliva is probably the best way to get rid of whatever is coating the nib. Generally, I just use a flame and pass it across the flame, and then it'll go black, and then you can just remove that sort of black coating. And that works well as well, but some people say that that can damage your nib, so I don't really mind it for these nibs because they're a thicker nib. But you know, if you want to preserve your nib, then that's really the best way. You can also stick it in a potato overnight. So because I usually use a flame, and then one time I needed it done quickly and I tried that method, and yeah, it worked. It was the best that I'd ever had a nib prepared, so I was shocked. Anyway, you will find that once your nib is prepared, it will change the whole experience of using a dip pen for you, and especially using these gold nibs. So, and I have had quite a few of you confirm that as well. So, okay, so I'm just kind of putting down some of these other pencils and kind of trying them out and showing you what I was surprised at when I was doing them all together. The dark brown one, the Swiss wood Caran d'Ache one, I wasn't really that impressed with the way that it laid down the colour. It's more of an aesthetic thing. I just really love it. It's kind of like being in the art shop, and some things just inspire you to do art or to be creative, even though they're not necessarily your medium you'd use or something like that. So I got the Swiss wood one from Jet Pens. I got the Grafwood one from Jackson's, and I was not really in love with the way that it felt a little bit scratchy putting it down, but when I saw it laid down, it actually performs so beautifully. And then the general sketching one and the Blackwing one, I love the way they perform, I love the way they look. So here you can see the slight variance in colour in the Technalo versus the Graphite Aquarelle. And I have to say, I love them both. I have been through so many of the Graphite Aquarelles. So here we are just looking at a couple of sketching pencils, and I often go through colours. These are just coloured pencils that I use for sketching. So I will often pull out just a couple of colours for a week or two that are just inspiring me, and just use those for sketching. So here we have the Derwent Colour Soft in pink lavender and steel grey. Then we had the Oyster Derwent Lightfast and the Caran d'Ache Luminance in sepia 10%. And so even when I am sketching out things with the coloured pencils, I like to try and do it like this. So it's small circular motions, and then you can kind of overlap them as well and kind of blend them out. So sometimes I will like sketch an outline with the pencil, and then I'll come back in with this kind of technique of blending and you know, the small circular motions to kind of just do a quick sketchy colour study. And I found these can be pretty helpful as well. So I'm just kind of showing you another rose here, and often I will do this as kind of a base layer and then put some watercolour over the top as well. Okay, so here you can see all of the, well, quite a lot of them used. So we already talked about the emblem at the top, and then in the flower, I started that with the Graphite Aquarelle, and I have gone back in with the pencils, the coloured pencils I was talking about, to sketch out more of the middle and to create some of those shadows, and then I have started going over the top of it with the watercolor, so I haven't finished that yet. But here I am also showing you that I often sketch with pens, just my fountain pens as well, or you know, a brush pen or something like that. So we didn't really talk about that today, but here's some examples of using a fountain pen, using the dip pen for the leaves, I think, and then on this page, this was just fountain pen over watercolor. And then we go back to the Graphite Aquarelle, so you can see there I have started these pages, and this is how I would say 80% of my artworks start, is with the just the Graphite Aquarelle, and you know, layer it up from there. So I had a morning of foiling, so I was using the Nouveau gold flakes and the silver, and I think it's kind of the cheapest way to just try out different techniques and things. The gold foil can be quite expensive, so I got those from scrapbook.com. You can see here again sketching with the fountain pen, and on all these pages the Kuru Toga, the mechanical pencil, is what I've used to, so this one was watercolor and then the fountain pen over the top, just, most of these pages here I've used the Uni Kuru Toga to write out the names. Okay guys, I'm getting tongue-tied. It's been a long day, so I will just let you watch the rest of the flip through here, and I hope you're doing well. I will see you in the next video. So hopefully next video we should be binding the nature journal or just any sketchbook insert. So if you want to create any sort of a sketchbook for one of your travels notebooks, we'll be doing that. And then next week we will be starting like a little series, just going back to some watercolor basics, and I think there'll be some surprises for a lot of you as well that have been here for a long time, so it won't just be kind of beginner stuff as well. Okay, bye guys.